Hi, welcome. Thanks for coming. It's a full house. Very nice of you. I hope I don't disappoint you. So I'm from Red Hat. I'm not wearing the hat because who was here last year? There was this comedian. He started to make joke of me, and then he said that there was this little red hat with a little man below it. So I'm not wearing. I'm short, yes, but I'm not wearing a Red Hat today. But I do work for Red Hat. So let's start. So it's a little agenda. So we'll start by defining what is upgrades, updates, what it means to migrate workloads in cloud, why it's a big problem, and why you should care about it. So, and allow me to do a little intermezzo, because I do it all the time when I do present. So I'm part of a society which is called the Cloud Appreciation Society. So we all talk about clouds, but we never look outside the window. And well, in this country, clouds are quite common, so you can just open your window and look out. And there is a TED talk about the Cloud Appreciation Society. It's very interesting, it's very cool. So you should just stop for a moment, get away from your computer, just look outside and look how beautiful they are. And we are not talking about computer, we're talking about real water formation. So have a look at TED and join the society and just stop for a moment, reflect on your own, reflect on the majesty of nature, and just enjoy your free time. Your productivity goes to zero when you look at cloud. But it's good, it's good. In this crazy world where we have Twitter and Facebook and everything is going so fast, just stop for a moment, look outside, look at real clouds, and consider how beautiful they are. So updates and upgrades. I look them up in the vocabulary, but you can think of it as two sides of the same coin. You want to get them done. You want to have a strategy around them. So as you can see, update is when you go from a smaller version to between small version, and upgrade is a big one where you go from, for example, from Icehouse to Juno, or from Juno to Kilo. So it's something you really have to consider, because our friends at Gartner, and you have to trust them, they are Gartner, right? So they did a survey, a study, so a science, right? So what is the problem with OpenStack is the governance and the deployment model and everything around OpenStack. OpenStack, we are here because OpenStack is amazing, it's cool, and it's gonna solve all your problems, it's gonna grow air on your head again. But the hard part about OpenStack is what is around, like management, upgrades, updates, operational problems around it. So what you want is to have a manageable OpenStack. Just OpenStack, that's not going to work. It's not going to cut it. It's going to be actually a liability for you, and we've seen it all over the place, people getting barred by OpenStack and then going back to Cloud Stack or whatever. So what you really want is a management platform. So Eric at the keynote explained it so well, so that's why you need. So you don't want this kind of OpenStack. You don't want a snowflake. You don't want a unicorn. You don't want OpenStack heroes in your organization that do a one-off OpenStack installation and then gets away with it, and you never upgrade it, and you never take care of it. It's detrimental. Don't do it. It's bad for you. What you want is automation. You want industry. You want things that work hands-off without really taking care of. You want this kind of approach, scientific approach to managing an OpenStack cluster. So. Monty Taylor this morning talked about development process around OpenStack. Is amazing. Hopefully part of it is great. So OpenStack is all about developers. It's a 5-year-old project. So in the first 4 years and a half, basically, the developers were at the center. So everybody was a developer. If you were serious about OpenStack, you were a developer. There's no way around it. Things are changing quite fast. So now there is a whole generation of OpenStack operators. They are not developers. They don't know, well, sadly I'm part of those, but so they sit in a corner, no? They felt a little left out from the community. They cannot really contribute code, so they are nobody, really. It's just, they are not really, they're not receiving the love that they should deserve, because they are running OpenStack in production, and so many times quite big clusters with real production workloads, with real customer data on it. And we think at Red Hat that they should deserve better. They should deserve some love. They should deserve some tools to do their job properly. And that's why we embark in this long journey of fixing this problem. At Red Hat, we really do listen to customers. And because I'm a customer-facing guy, I go to the customer house and I sit with them and I listen to their problems all day long. It's sometimes it's painful for me too. It's for them as well. So that's why we are here, right? Because OpenStack is difficult. Everybody told you so, right? I even put this slide in my presentation before. OpenStack is hard. I think this should be changed now. Actually, we are here because we want to make it easier. We want to make it trivial. We want to make it affordable and easy to approach to everybody, my grandmother included, or something like that. But so everybody had his own installer, right? Everybody was choose my installer. You can do this, you can do that. It's all cool, and we were part of the game, right? So Red Hat itself, we had installer based on Foreman with Stay Puft, which is the funny little guy in the corner. Canonical is a new installer, and Mirantis as Fuel, and they're all nice in their own ways. They have their own cool stuff. Fuel is a great GUI, can deploy Ceph, and I don't know much about Canonical, but I'm sure there is something good about that too. No, it's true. It's just everybody wants to be the best in deploying OpenStack. So we say, okay, that's cool, but what about after you deploy? You know, there's a whole life of your cluster, right? There's actually a life cycle management coming after you deploy. So we kind of stepped back and we went back to the drawing board, and then we tried to think of the quality of the ideal OpenStack deployment tool, right? So what kind of topology has to deploy, what kind of processes to drive, and what we want to do with that after we deploy. So imagine if there was such a tool, right? Imagine if there was really something that can deploy to bare metal. So everybody loves containers nowadays, and we actually have containers on our roadmap to deploy OpenStack services in containers, but I'm not going to bother you with Docker today. I just say Docker. I think I'm the first one today. It's a project that is born and raised and grows in a community, the OpenStack community, by any chance. Can be extended. So completely open API, OpenStack API, was more open than that. Got a visual status, so you can have one single pane of glass where you can see the status of all your nodes, all your OpenStack cluster. It's focused on the operator, so the operator is the center of our world. So we really want to give them the tools that they need. Integration, and is of course scalable. So we listen to the pain of our customers, and as somebody was saying today, a year ago was all about POCs and little OpenStack cluster just to see if this thing is right for me, for my organization, can I run this workload? But today, a year later, it's amazing, it's only 1 year, but it's already happening. It's all about skip the POC. I want pilot, I want pre-production, I want something cool, something big. So scale became a problem. All these nice GUIs and all these nice tools, they're all very fancy visually, but they don't scale. Try to deploy 200 nodes with a GUI, it's just crazy. So that's where we wanted to go and enter the cloud director, Riccardo Muti, by the way, Italian. So we came up with something as in pure Red Hat style. We develop it in the community. So we have a RDO, which doesn't stand for Red Hat Distribution OpenStack. It stands for something else, but it's our distribution OpenStack. It runs on CentOS, runs on RHEL, runs everywhere. So we have a tool, we develop a tool in the community of OpenStack, reusing OpenStack projects like OO and Ironic, and we put it together in a coherent product, call it RDO Manager, the open source version, and our productized version is called OSP Director. And it's made of OpenStack components. So what does it do? Guess what? It deploys OpenStack. Which OpenStack? The RDO version or the RHEL OSP, the Red Hat Enterprise Linux OpenStack platform. So it's tried and true. It's nothing new here. You can deploy it manually and you get the same OpenStack. But why you want to do that when you have this tool that can do much more than just deploying it? So it deploys all the services. You can choose which one you want. But we have also new services in our new release, the OSP 7, based on Kilo. For example, Manila is a tech preview. Trove and Designate are also tech preview. But they are there. You don't need to use them if you don't want to, but they can be deployed. And of course, Swift, Glance, Nova, everything. Plus, Ironic and OO. So that's what happens under the hood. So you have a like almost full OpenStack cloud called the undercloud with all the services that you need to deploy a bigger overcloud, which is your customer-facing OpenStack cloud. So this is for operators, this is for administrators, so not many people will have access to this, hopefully. And everything else is for your customers. That's where your production workloads or non-production workloads run. So it's based on just very common OpenStack service that you all love and know. So you all know how to use Keystone, right? You all know how to use Nova or Glance. So in the undercloud, it's a fully formed OpenStack cloud that is used not to deploy instances, not to deploy Nova instances on KVM, but is used to deploy bare metal machines on top of which an OpenStack cloud, the overcloud, will run. So, you can interrupt me with a question, of course. It's always nice to be interrupted, but that's how it looks like. Hey, you recognize it, it's OpenStack. Big deal, right? So it's just a little different from your normal OpenStack, just because you are not managing virtual instances, we are managing bare metal nodes. So of course there is a little difference there, but it's a fully open source UI called Tuskar, and it's a plugin of Horizon. It's just installed when you install the undercloud, and you just access it via HTTP, HTTPS, and you start managing. And you can use this, or you can use the fully compatible OpenStack CLI. It's exactly the same thing. As you can create instances via the UI in normal OpenStack, or you can use Nova CLI, same thing here. We are standardizing on the OpenStack unified client, so it's OpenStack space server boot instead of Nova boot. But it's the same thing. It's just an API. You can interact with the API. If you are a developer, you know that API ruled the world, and you don't want anything but an API. You just interact with it with the API. That's the core of our extensibility and interaction and expansion with third-party drivers. So that's how it works. You deploy a bunch of management nodes, your undercloud. You can deploy 1, 2, 3, as much as you like, because it's OpenStack. So and trust me, we know how to make redundant and resilient OpenStack clusters in Red Hat. So as you can deploy resilient OpenStack clouds, that's how you deploy resilient under cloud, OpenStack cloud. So you deploy management nodes like this, and from there, you deploy the rest. So you deploy a management node, you configure the infrastructure, you put all your parameters. Underlying is all Puppet. So it's nothing very new there. If you know Puppet, if you know Jira, it's all there. It's just a way to configure those services remotely on the bare metal. You do hardware discovery of your nodes. It's all automated. You just need to have IPMI, username and password, and MAC addresses of the first interface, and that's it. That's all you need. Ironic will take care of booting the nodes up, uploading a discovery image that will run tests on the infrastructure, will run discovery on the nodes. We'll report back to the undercloud. You will have an overview of what's going on, or what's your infrastructure look like, and then you can deploy, you can define the nodes, and then just let the magic happen to deploy the production over cloud from your undercloud. From then, that's how it works inside, right? These are all services written in Python, of course, your Nova, Ironic, Glance. So you create images with Disk Image Builder, another OpenStack project. So you define what goes in the images. We now have one image for all. We call it OpenStack Full, because it contains all the OpenStack services, and Puppet will take care of turning on and off the services as needed. So a compute node will not run Neutron server, but we run Open vSwitch agent and the compute service. So it's all taken care by Tusker, which is another OpenStack project that manage the plan. So what node does what. And you start with it. It is the orchestrator layer. So it's OpenStack. If you don't know it, I suggest you go read about it, because it's going to be very important in our future deployment tool. So it orchestrates the whole process, calls Nova, calls Ironic, picks up an image from Glance. Well, there's only one, really. So picks the OpenStack full, and via AirSync or HTTP, put it on a bare metal machine, and then calls two Python scripts called OSApply and OSRefresh. So every time you change a parameter, you can call OSRefresh, and it will just apply the new parameters via Puppet. So this all gives you a lot of control over your cloud. So it's not, we are not done yet. So because this is all about, again, it's all about deploying. It's all very cool, but we decided that this is not enough, and that's where also, again, we listen to customers, and true story, every time I went to a customer, they always ask me, so what about the logs? What about the metrics? What about, are my compute nodes alive? Well, you don't know until you set up something, right? So they are tech previewing the first version of the product, but we are really working hard on this. So we use Logstash and Elasticsearch to collect all the logs from the nodes. If you don't do it, you're doing it wrong, because you really need to collect logs from everywhere in one central place. And we are working on the high availability for instances, which is another question from customers all the time. They ask us, what happens if I lose a node? Well, it's a cloud, so you should not really care, but if you do care for your pets instead of kettles, then we have something for you. We are working with Pacemaker Remote to detect failures of nodes, of compute nodes, and then have Nova Scheduler reschedule those VMs on a surviving node. It's already there. We can actually enable it. It's tech preview, because it's not really, it hasn't been tested extensively, but it's a feature. You're gonna love it. Then, okay, so you have a cloud, and you can manage it. You know all the logs. You got it in a central place. You got all the operational insight into your cloud. What next? that's what also Eric explained this morning. So you need something more. So that's where we distinguish ourselves from our competitors, is our cloud management platform called CloudForms. And we've been able to control your cloud from CloudForms for a while now, I think a couple of years. So CloudForms could talk to the OpenStack, can still talk, of course, to the OpenStack API, get a list of all the instances, tells you how many instances are running and how much memory they are using, and it's all nice and dandy. But lately, we've been adding the infrastructure provider as from OpenStack. So CloudForms can talk to the Tusker API and knows exactly the underlying infrastructure from your cloud. So it can tell you how many nodes you have, how the nodes are used or not used. You can do capacity planning, you can do analysis. It can see everything that you see from the OpenStack Tusker UI, also in CloudForms. And you say, well, it's not a big deal. Well, it is, because you can do, of course, chargeback and showback. You can integrate that infrastructure provider with other infrastructure providers like VMware. And you can have multiple clouds under your control via CloudForms, something that the single instance of the under cloud cannot do, can only deploy one over cloud. So this is some of the insight that you can get from CloudForms. And the best part is that you can plan and scale up your cloud from CloudForms. If you have compute nodes available, you can add them to your cluster seamlessly. So you can even have triggers. So let's say that your customer starts to launch a lot of VMs and you are not prepared for it, but you have a bunch of infrastructure nodes, compute nodes lying around, then CloudForms can extend your infrastructure seamlessly, automatically, elastically, so to say, without you even noticing. Well, you should. That's how you extend all this and how you integrate it with everything you want, really, with your third-party charging and billing, with your third-party management platform, whatever. It's all based on API. So if you can talk to the API, if you can talk HTTP, you can integrate with this stuff. So it's no secret sauce, no magic, closed source things that Red does in the closet. It's just all in the open. It's all documented. It's really OpenStack documentation because it's all OpenStack projects, so they're all in on OpenStack.org. So tips and tricks. So I've been doing some migration for customers. They're never easy. They're never really a nice view. It's hard. It's something that but you have to think about it. It's not we try always to make aware the customers that this is going to happen. You can't stay at Ice House in 2015. That's just crazy. There are so many flows in there that you don't want to know. And if you are in Juno today and you want to stay till 2017, that's also kind of crazy idea. So you really have to, somebody asked this morning, 6 months, I have to upgrade every 6 months. Yes, you do. Yes, it's life. It's life in the DevOps age, right? I mean, these procedures are difficult. That's why you have to do it more often. That's why you have to invest time and efforts in getting this thing right. We try to make your job easier with all the tools, but it's your responsibility to think of this. So you have to think of upgrades, and you have to, you can read the slide, but line migration helps a lot. So when you can migrate workloads off a compute node and upgrade it, it's great. When you have multiple API endpoints, so you have probably a resilient multiple controllers around there, maybe your database or RabbitMQ is separated, so it all helps with the upgrades. War story, so I've been doing this for a customer, I'm not gonna name it, but about 300 VMs, we developed scripts to migrate the database, selective tables for going from Icehouse to Kilo. It worked very well. It didn't take long, but it's still a manual. It's still a manual process. So think very closely, very hard about this problem. Our director actually will solve this problem for you. So we committed to have a migration path with minimal downtime and automated script that will ease the migration, ease the upgrades, sorry, for one major version to the other and one minor version to the other. So if you deploy manually, you're not going to get it. But if you deploy through RDO Manager or OSP Director, you get all this process automated for you and seamless and with the minimal downtime, which is 0 really. And that's it. That's my presentation. So if you have any question, that's the moment. Yes. Okay, so we deploy Ceph at the same time. So if you want Ceph, the tool deploys Ceph in one go. So there are roles, and we define roles as controller, compute, OSD node, Swift node for now. But we can expand on the subject and define new roles. For the networking part, that's a tricky question because we don't control all the networking third-party plugins. So if they want to integrate with us, we are open to that. And some already are trying to do it. I think PlumGrid got one integration. So you can always do it manually. It's not. You might lose the driver, so you have to think of it. It's a good question, but we don't own everything, so we just be open and let them integrate with us. You upgrade the undercloud first, which will upgrade the overcloud in turn. So it's a rolling upgrade, but you start with the undercloud that knows what to do with the old version to the new version.
What about adding new Puppet modules to build those images, estimate images?
Yes. Yes. We have multiple points where you can actually customize things. So you can use disk image builder to add more stuff to your image, and then you're not using our provided images, but you're building your own, which is fine. And we have a thing called extra configs, is a it resource, which calls whatever you want, a script, Puppet, everything you want. And that's where you want to integrate in Puppet with whatever Puppet module you want to use. So it's all there. So once it's deployed, is basically, we use masterless Puppet. So we sync the modules and we run Puppet apply locally. So you can add your modules, have this extra config call, do all the magic, and apply your Puppet modules. It's open, so. No more questions? Yes.
A question. In the beginning you explained about upgrading and upgrading,
Mm-hmm.
and then at the end you explained you have to apply the new version twice a year. Between those twice a year periods, what do the operators have to do?
Yes, so we release new packages all the time, especially when there is a security upgrade, security update. We release the fixes. The undercloud will know about this because you can either integrate with satellite if you have satellite, which is our patch management, lifecycle management. You don't need to. You can just talk to Red Hat via our RHN subscription manager. And then when there is an upgrade, an updated package will be installed by the overcloud. So the upgrade process will be orchestrated by the undercloud. So that's the best way we could find. You know, it's because then you know which machines needs which upgrades. It's better to use Satellite because you have a view over this. Otherwise, you have to go kind of blind and just apply updates as they come. But it's better than nothing, and it's a mechanism that we are also developing now because we just released the first version, so the second version will just arrive in time. But it's what we want to achieve, like seamless upgrades of packages, individual packages, before you go for the big major version update. It was until now. There was a need of building a completely separate cluster, migrate workloads, but that's the pain that we want to solve. So the rolling upgrade will just eliminate the need to stand up a new cluster, a new cloud, and migrate workloads. So we're gonna have this being developed by Innovance, which is a company we acquired last year. It uses it's still subject to change, but so it uses Ansible to orchestrate rolling upgrades of controllers and compute nodes. Bring down a node, upgrade, bring it up, and then move on to the next one. It's a rolling upgrade.
So do you guarantee that nothing will break?
Me personally, yes, I guarantee, yes. If you do it on production without testing it, then nobody's gonna guarantee you anything. But of course, we test this. It's not like we tell you, yeah, sure, go. We have an extensive QA on this, so. There's no guarantee in life, but I mean, if you follow the advice and you follow the reference architecture, and of course, if you integrate your own Puppet module that does something very strange, then we can't really account for that. But we work with you and we make sure that your upgrades will be seamless. Yeah, sorry. Yes, so rolling upgrades are being supported in OpenStack since a while now, so since Juno, no, maybe even Icehouse. But what you needed was the mechanism, like the orchestration, and now we have it. No, it's available when you install RDO Manager or OSP Director, which has just been released, so there are no upgrades yet. But when the first one will be available, we're also going to release the script that will do that, orchestrated by the undercloud. So that's it. Okay, thank you.